Hey everybody, I'm Brian Mitchell.
And I'm Cassie King, and welcome back to the Skybound Insider.
Today is a special occasion. Not only are we here to present to you this interview, which is two people talking, that's the definition of an interview, but I have a few awards to give out as well to two different people.
Why do you have awards?
Because I think these two people deserve it.
We
First off is this Eisner Award. Congratulations to Cassie King. Here's your Eisner Award.
I was so ready to be annoyed at you.
Oh, now you're happy.
What is this for?
Well, it's for your hard work Eisnering.
What is to Eisner?
And next up is Ian Start, who gets this Harvey Award.
Ian's running audio.
This Steve Harvey Award.
That's more clever than you are normally.
Sure. Do you guys think Steve Harvey's gonna mind? Yes, I can confirm that neither of you are Harvey or Eisner Award winners, but in my heart, you are. But you know who did win these awards was Greg Rucka, who is our interview for today.
You did all of that for that one line. Greg Rucka is indeed a Harvey Award winner and an Eisner Award winner. Really, he's a comic book veteran and a novelist. He's worked on comics like Detective Comics, Batman, Superman, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Elektra, Wolverine, The Punisher. He's also done his own original works, Black Magic and Lazarus, The Old Guard. We're just scratching the surface here. He really has been all over all of the blocks.
Greg also has a few ongoing series of novels like Queen and Country and the Atticus Kodiak series, Jad Bell series, and much more.
Without further ado, Greg Rucka.
How's it going, guys? We are here sitting down with Greg Rucka, writer, fight choreographer?
Oh yeah, but that was years and years ago.
Okay, still on the resume though.
It is still on the resume. It helps with putting together some of the fights. When we do the duels in Lazarus, you know, which are these ornate sword fights between Lazari, or at least archaic weapon fights. So, you know, I've got some prop weapons, and a friend of mine, a guy who actually co-wrote issue 3 of the Lazarus X66 miniseries, Neil Bailey. He and I will go out to Irvington Park, which is only a few blocks from here, and we'll break down the fight, and then we'll film it, and then
you pre-visit.
Yeah,
wow.
we film it and we send it to Michael Lark, and then Lark is able to run the video and go, I'm going to take that moment and that moment and that moment. But we do actually tend to choreograph the fights.
You sold your first 2 books.
Yeah.
At what point, did you always kind of, in that time, know that you would be interested in writing comics?
I loved comics, and I think that was the draw, so I was interested in it. I had a friend who worked at DC for a woman there in marketing, and she had read my novels because he had introduced her to them. She introduced me to the people who had started Oni Press. That led to doing Whiteout. Mm-hmm. Whiteout, sort of the quick version is Whiteout led to meeting Denny O'Neil, which led to doing work for DC and the Batman group during the build up to No Man's Land, which was that big year 2000 event, and then working on No Man's Land and post No Man's Land, being on Detective Comics, which then opened up basically, wow, I guess I work for DC now. And I worked for DC pretty much nonstop until 2009.
Really?
Yeah, with occasional flirtations with Marvel.
Yeah.
And still doing stuff with Oni Press. You know, we did Whiteout, we did Queen and Country. And
at the same time, you were doing the Wonder Woman runs?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first run on Wonder Woman was during that. First time I played with Superman was in that. You know,
right.
I did I was on 52. Mm-hmm. You know, there were a lot of years there. And about 2009, I hit a point where I was like, I was not well. I was really unhealthy. The work environment had become progressively more toxic for me. And I had made the mistake of staying too long, which is a mistake I see a lot of people make.
Yeah.
And as a result, I was being taken, I think, for granted. I don't think it was out of any sense of malice, but I think that as a result of being reliable, I was not in a position where I was valued. So yeah, I left DC in 2009. I was weighing about 250 pounds, and that was stress eating, and it was emotional misery. And it,
So
like
you
I said,
were just overworked. It sounds
it
like.
wasn't so much overwork, though I suspect the schedule was a large part of it. It was also feeling like I couldn't tell the stories the way I wanted. I was constantly being micromanaged. And there had been a shift in editorial at that point, and they were trying to find their way. And, you know, I was the guy that they kept saying, well, you're going to get to do this, but until you do that, come in here and put out that fire. And I was fucking miserable.
What was the point where you kind of got back in the saddle and you're like, I'm going to sit down?
I think Lazarus was really galvanizing in a lot of ways. Because I love Michael, and just being able to do this project with him. And even in the run-up to it, and there was a fairly long run-up, we were working on it before it was ever announced or even released. And then when it was released, to see the response was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You know, we did a New York Comic Con, and there were actually people who wanted to be in a room just to talk about this book. And we were kind of like, holy shit, we maybe did something good. So that was kind of awesome.
Do you have any advice for aspiring writers? What's one piece of advice?
I'll actually give you two.
Okay.
All right.
Two is fine.
Are we talking about writing in general, or are we talking about writing comics?
Writing in general.
All right. Read. That's number one. Read. Read everything. Mm-hmm. Take the English courses. You may hate Hemingway. Understand why people love Hemingway. All right. Read outside of the genre. All right.
Yeah.
But you need to always be reading. And then the second thing is put your ass in the chair and do it. All of us have things that are demanding our attention in our lives. All of us do. Kids, work, family, environment, whatever. Set yourself a schedule and meet it. You know, and if it's get up an hour early and sit down and write 500 words every morning, 6 out of 7 days a week, do it. But it doesn't happen unless you sit down and do it.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes to do. I arbitrarily decided I was going to write 3,000 words a day. And the reason I wrote 3,000 words a day is I had read Stephen King's Danse Macabre, which is a collection of his essays, some of which about writing more than others. And somewhere in there I had picked up that he wrote 3,000 words a day. And I was like, well, there you go. Stephen King does it. Clearly that's the method.
You've got a new standard.
Yeah. And you know what? If you do that long enough, you learn how to do it even when you don't want to.
Folks, if you had your little eyeballs on the screen and you had your ears open and the speakers were playing and you liked what you heard and you liked what you saw, then go pick up this guy's books, you dummy. But also go check out the full interview on Skybound.com to hear the other 80% of the discussion that you didn't get here.
Like and comment on the video, subscribe to Skybound, and let us know in the comments what your favorite work of Greg's is, and we'll see you all next week.
And now, so you can see your way out of here, my glasses, presented to you by Steve Harvey.